This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman.
This is Mathew Valencia, the voice of Robin, Tim Drake.
And you're listening to the DCAU Review.
Hosted by Cal and Liam.
Streaming at DCAUreview.com.
And on your favorite podcasting app.
Welcome, everybody, to another bonus episode of the DCAU Review. I am one of your hosts, Cal, and with me, my good brother, Liam. Liam, very exciting landmark episode for the podcast today, as we have a very special guest interview that we'll be doing today. Man, I felt like we were amongst royalty when we finally made this thing happen. It was a surreal moment, another one of those pinch me, I can't believe this is happening type things that we seem to somehow fall into every couple of months here with this podcast. We have an exciting interview coming up today.
That's right, Cal. If you listened last week, you knew this was coming, and you may have even already heard his voice in the intro to the show. But yes, you are about to listen to a lengthy conversation that we were fortunate enough to have with the voice of Tim Drake / Robin himself. Mathew Valencia was kind enough to spend almost an hour with us, and you'll hear a lot of that conversation here today. There may be some parts of it that are we've snipped out to use later, but you'll definitely hear quite a bit of it today. And we had so much fun talking to Mathew. He is we found out, as you'll hear in the interview, very much cut from the same cloth as far as just a joy of nerding out and a love specifically for Batman and Batman the Animated Series, even with Mathew being a part of it. So without any further ado, let's throw it to ourselves and Mathew in the past as we bring you our conversation with the voice of Tim Drake / Robin, Mathew Valencia.
All right. Thanks, us from the future. Once again, Cal, we are very excited today to be joined by the voice of Robin the Boy Wonder / Tim Drake himself. The great Mathew Valencia is joining us here today. Mathew, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm actually really excited to be here.
Awesome.
Well, it's a first for us. So we've had directors and writers on the and I guess technically producers on the show, but you are the first voice cast member of the DCAU, let alone Batman the Animated Series, New Batman Adventures. So you're in an elite company now. Like, as
I'm
if
honored.
It wasn't special enough to have Robin, the Boy Wonder, on the program at all. You're the first. So thank you for
Appreciate
being
it
with us
so
today.
much. I'm honored. Yeah.
Absolutely. And with that we'll get into our questions for you today. First up, we always start when we have our guests on for the first time. We just love to hear about your quote unquote origin story, as it were. Obviously, you were a young kid growing up in Hollywood in the entertainment industry, so we'd love to know just like what was it like getting into the industry? How did you get in? All of that kind of stuff as you were growing up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually the result of what happens when a California-born motorcycle enthusiast becomes a highway patrol officer and falls in love with a hippie disguised as a secretary. So
a tale as old as time.
I know, right? They fell wildly in love and they got married and had me, pretty much right away. And my grandmother actually was watching me for like the first 2 years of my life, and just kind of watch the baby and while they do their work stuff. And as a result of that, she kind of had nothing to do with me, so she entered me into a baby beauty pageant one day.
Yes.
Yeah. And I won Most Beautiful Baby of San Gabriel Valley.
Wow. Congratulations. I mean,
Thank
that's
you
got to
so
go
much.
on your resume, right?
I still have the trophy.
Yes.
It's on my bookshelf at home for sure. And as a result of it, there were some producers in I guess where they were the judges, and they were for the Tonight Show, and they needed a kid my age to pop some bubbles on screen so they could mouth dub over me like Al Capone's voice. I'm gonna get you, she and you and you and you.
Wow.
So my grandma was like, yeah, sure. I mean, why not? So I did, and they did, and somebody saw it, and they were like, "Hey, that kid, can we use him for?" I don't know if it was a McDonald's commercial or it was like a diaper commercial. It was some sort of, hey, we need a kid. cool. Use this kid. This kid's good, right?
Right.
And from it just kind of kept snowballing from there. And my grandmother was like, okay, well, this is getting kind of much. So I'm gonna push this back on mom.
Sure.
And mom, she took over and took me and my brother, my little baby brother, on interviews. And eventually we got an agent and a manager. And on one of my auditions, I went in and I auditioned for the part. And my brother was actually sitting in the waiting room. And some lady came out and was like, oh, who's this kid? And I was, my youngest son, my little brother, and I was like, my mom was like, the producer was like, I'm gonna need this guy to come in and no, everyone go home. He's got the part. And so he kind of got into the industry as well. So
wow.
Family business.
yeah, yeah. So it's just we kind of my mom kind of dedicated a lot of time to taking me and my brother to Hollywood, and we went on interviews, and we were very successful. We were award-winning young actors. We got
Incredible.
we went from commercial to print to we did some background work on. I was on Step by Step as like a party guest.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. And then I did some more like print ads for Burger King and Cigna Health and
Okay.
a whole bunch of it's kind of getting bigger and bigger. And I was co-star on Bold and the Beautiful, and I did a lot of plays.
Okay.
And I was really into it. I missed quite a bit of school to go on auditions.
The fun part, right?
Yeah, a lot of school on set. So, and I went up. I was going for parts against kids, my age, but you might know him as like Shia LaBeouf, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would run across like me and Scarlett Johansson cross paths because we would be at the same building for
Right.
different parts, different projects. It's definitely not unusual. You should be like, I was just going through my picture albums. I have pictures of me and Michelle Trachtenberg and
Wow.
Erica Christensen and
Wow.
a whole bunch of people. Yeah,
Rubbing elbows with like the kid actor royalty of that
Right?
era.
Yeah,
Wow.
you definitely see people around. So
There you go.
I actually got a job similar to the way my brother got picked up. He was on the Disney lot filming something, and I was sitting just on a bench with my mom, inside the recording booth. And some guy came across, and I said something to my mom. My voice was kind of hoarse at the time,
Mhm.
and he stopped and turned. He goes, "Do you do ADR work?" I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." He goes, "Come here." Put me in a booth, and that's how I did ADR work for Tom and Huck, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's funny.
so I mean, it's just
A lot of
happenstance stuff.
happenstance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. You right
Wow.
place, right time, a lot of luck, and
Same.
being just really cute and energetic.
The genetics helped, right? Thanks.
Right?
Mom and
Yeah,
Dad
that's
for
the high
that.
cheekbones.
There you go.
Yeah.
We love
Yeah,
that.
the last name hindered me a little bit. Growing up, I would get parts for like to try out for like Homeless Kid 1 or Gang Member 2.
Mm.
A lot of Spanish speaking parts, and I don't speak Spanish at all.
All right.
And my brother, I know, having a similar name, he would get, kind of the same parts. But he got advice to switch his acting name to his middle name. And then from there, he picked up roles like, he was Little Tree in Education of Little Tree.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Huh.
He was Sonny in Slapping the Stinkers, and whatever the main character's name, I forget the kid's name in Where the Red Fern Grows.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
But he was just like picking up big
Right.
parts.
Wow.
All because the name changed. And I was like, if I do go back, I'm going to go back as Matt Ryan. Because
There you go.
There you go.
That's unfortunate that's the modus operandi. It sounds like
Yeah.
of
that was Hollywood back in the day. I mean, I'm sure stuff has changed a lot now.
I would hope.
kind of been out. Yeah, I've been out of that realm for a while, but
Sure.
fond memories.
Absolutely. I mean,
Working on really cool projects with really creative people, and yeah, it was good times.
We love
absolutely.
that. So then, okay. So we have the origin story. We have a lot. Sounds like leading up to what was the casting like? How did you get like the opportunity to potentially go for this role of Robin? What do you remember around like, the process of what that was like, when you first learned about, that this was something you could go for, and then ultimately getting the role?
Yeah. So auditioning in front of producers and directors and callbacks and stuff. At this point, I'm 13 years old. I've been doing it since I was 2. I'm old hat at this stuff by now.
You're the veteran.
I got it down.
Yeah.
I go in, I give it my all, and that's what it really came down. I got the call from my agent who said, "Hey, we just got word that Warner Brothers has picked up the rights to Batman from Fox,
Mm-hmm.
and with that, they want to go a little bit in a new way, more like towards the comic books."
Mhm.
And being a fan of Batman growing up, my mom introduced me to Batman. We watched old school 80s Batman and
Sure.
read comic books, and I read fiction novels on Batman and stuff.
Sure.
Big Batman fan. Yeah,
That helped then.
it did help. So
Yeah.
knowing that who Jason Todd and Tim Drake were
Mhm.
really helped me well, first of all, I mean, that's mind blowing. They're like,
Right.
"Do you want to try out for the part of Robin?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, please."
Right.
They're like, "Yeah, it's a new Robin." I was like, I know.
Right.
Not Jason, Tim.
Right.
Got it.
Got
Let's
it.
go.
Right.
Yeah. And so I show up, and the first interview is always like 500 kids.
Mm.
And, you go in, you're usually one at a time, and they blow through a lot of the process.
Sure.
Get rid of half the kids right off the bat.
Right.
And they did that, and I got a call back, and it was probably maybe down to 50 kids. And then around December, I get a call. It's like, "Okay, it's you and 5 other kids.
Oof.
You guys are all going to come into the booth at the same time.
Wow.
And Andrea's going to be in the booth, and she's going to direct you through some lines, and we're going to, we'll let you know."
Sure.
So, luck of the draw, I went in and I got, dead last place. So I got to hear everybody else's audition before I went.
Wow.
So I pick and choose okay,
Right.
he's not saying it the way she wants, so I'll make sure to emphasize this and say it clearly like that. And, went home, thank you, everybody. And by the time I got home, there was a message on my answering machine. And this was on my 13th birthday, December 12th. They called me up and they were like,
Wow.
"Hey, congratulations, you're in the new Robin. We're going to start, just here really soon because we have a Christmas episode coming up. So
Wow.
well done. We'll see you on this particular date." And, celebration, right?
Happy birthday indeed.
Yes.
Wow.
Merry Mathew Day, as we say at my house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That gives you goosebumps, like the stars are
To
aligned.
this day, a tingle just still goes up my spine. Like,
Oh, that's incredible.
it was unreal.
All right, so once you are cast and you're going to that, like, let's say that first recording session, you're working with the great Andrea Romano, the voice director and casting director, and then the rest of the cast and crew, Bruce Timm and folks like that, and then you're also in a room with. So Holiday Nights is the first episode you recorded, correct?
Correct.
You're in there with Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy and all of these incredible actors.
So
I
got there first.
Oh, I was gonna say you're like jumping at the bit. You're like, you're ready
I
to
showed
get
up
going.
way early. Yeah, I got there early. Andrea was the one that met us when we got let into the building, walked upstairs, and she led me to the green room. And sitting at the table were 2 gentlemen I didn't know from sight. Andrea introduced me as the new Robin. This is Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, writers of Batman. And I was like, "Oh, I know those names."
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for creating some of my most favorite characters in the Batman universe.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly. And for this opportunity. And
Yeah.
I sat down with my mom and we're just chit-chatting. And the next person that walks in is legit Mark Hamill.
Oh my God.
And he walks in and he says hi to Andrea. And I just start tugging on my mom's sleeve like, "It's Luke Skywalker. What is Luke Skywalker doing here?"
Right.
And then I was like, "Oh, wait, no, yeah, he plays Joker." Okay, it's just got real. And then people would come in. I think the next person that actually came in was Ron Perlman.
Oh, right.
That's right.
Yeah, and my mom was a big Beauty and the Beast fan.
Right, okay.
Live action
Yeah.
series. She flipped. She grabbed my sleeve. Was like, Ron Perlman. Yeah,
that's great.
And then like Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. and Tara and the rest. Everyone showed up. Kevin was there, and all these people walked in. The whole cast, because it was an ensemble.
Right.
Okay, everyone, Andrea let everyone into the room. We all took our places. She sat us all down. And at the very end of the recording booth, it was Tara Strong, me, Mark Hamill, who was standing, and then Kevin Conroy, and then the rest of the cast. Ending with, and Lauren was at the very end.
Wow.
And it was just, I was like, this is it. This is it, boys.
Wow.
Yeah, living the dream right here. And then Andrea went through and we did a first read. And going through, nobody really paid me any much attention. And after our first read, she introduced our characters before the first read.
Okay.
And then, okay, it's action, okay, read, everyone very professional. And Andrea goes in the other room, and after we get through the read, Mark Hamill turns to me and goes, "I didn't know you were the new Robin. Congratulations and welcome." And I was like, melting. It was just a back and forth between, hang on, you're Jedi Master, and then the embodiment of Batgirl standing right next to me.
Right.
As a 13-year-old boy, my brain just
short circuiting.
100%. Yeah.
Unreal.
I think they had to fix my pronunciation of Batman a couple times.
Really?
I know I said Bitman
a
bunch. Thankfully I didn't say Buttman. I was very conscious of that.
That would have been real awkward.
That's my youngest son's favorite, is calling Batman Buttman.
Maybe he has a future.
I'll say that.
100%.
Right, being cast as a future boy wonder.
It's in the genetics.
Yeah, but Andrea, working with Andrea, she knew exactly how she wanted it to sound and what she didn't want it to sound like. And when I was saying things like Bitman, she would coach me. She would say, "Hey, say it Batman, Batman." And so my next read through, I was reading through it and I said, "Batman, watch out." Everyone died laughing.
Tremendous.
Yeah. So, but rally, and then by the second or third time going through the script, coolest thing Kevin showed me was how to move the papers silently, so you can get picked up by the microphone as you're reading along through the script.
That's so cool. I've heard Will Friedle, who voiced the Batman Beyond, mention that about Kevin too. That's like one of his sage wisdoms, was how to do that. That's such a cool little note that you
and how to get through autograph signings. So because you get some people who come up and think that you are the character that you are portraying, and guy came up with full-on blueprints of a grappling hook that could shoot you. Here, let's make this. Talk. And he's like, all right, say thank you and sign in, and move them along.
Oh, words of wisdom. There you go.
Good to know.
Absolutely.
Let's take a quick pause right here. In the middle of our conversation, we'll get right back with Matthew in just a moment here, Liam. But I wanted to give the folks at home an opportunity to support the podcast. If you like the podcast, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, if you're enjoying this conversation, we invite you to become a supporter of the podcast via buymeacoffee.com/DCAU review. The great thing about buymeacoffee.com/DCAU review is you can become a actual supporter of the podcast via either a one-time donation to support the podcast or become a recurring monthly supporter of the podcast. And if you become a recurring monthly supporter of the podcast, we have 3 different levels for your support. Each of those levels come with their own perks. The top perk comes with the ability to ask a question of us when we're doing our normal reviews. And if you have questions about what it is that we're reviewing that week, something on that topic, something about the episode, our opinion on something, maybe a fan theory, something like that, we take that all into consideration. You can send it our way if you are a Super Friend tier level supporter of the podcast. So we invite you to head over today to buymeacoffee.com/DCAU review and support the podcast today.
And now back to our conversation with Mathew Valencia, the voice of Robin.
That's a good, speaking of the late Mr. Conroy, of course, it's a good segue to our next question, which, obviously, unfortunately, we lost him a couple years ago. And I'm sure that was, I remember some tweets from you at that time. I'm talking about how heartbreaking that was for you and difficult. But one of the things that we like to do, especially when we have guests that have worked on the show, is just to talk about their memories of Kevin and if you have a favorite memory of working with him, or if there's something that stuck out to you about his personality or who he was. I know everyone says he was just the most incredible person, but we love hearing those individual stories if there's something you feel comfortable with sharing.
Yeah, the very first time on holiday nights, we were sitting there and trying to get kind of audio levels and tone, and like I said, Andrea knows what she wants to hear, so she knows what Batman's voice is supposed to sound like and where Bruce's voice is at. And so he would come in and I am Batman, and then for Bruce Wayne, he'd even be somewhere in this area around here. And when he got an audio check or tone check from the booth, he would be up here. So, is that okay? And I was like, oh, that's the true voice of Batman? Oh, man. That was unexpected. So just that was, okay, cool. And then, like I said, paper, just getting you through it. Everyone was so very, very helpful and very, very kind. Everyone on the cast. I remember Bob Costanza was, I was having trouble getting through a line. It was very, very complex line about a silent alarm going off at an old auto parts factory.
Okay.
And I kept stumbling over it. And he, as a joke, he kind of whispered, he was like, "Hey, let me take a crack at it." And so he leaned over at my microphone and he was like, "Hey, there's a silent alarm going off at the old like Detective Bullock." And even he stumbled over the line, and I was like, "Okay, that's all right." Yeah,
that's tremendous.
But I just, just how kind he was. He would not, hesitate to share a story or a tip or even a kind word. Between him and Mark, they entertained me, 13-year-old me, with the whole time. So
yeah.
Awesome. Working with the whole cast was great, but Kevin was he's Batman. He was. He's always my Batman, and whenever I hear anyone else do Batman, I'm like, that's not Batman.
That's not Batman. You're right, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We appreciate you sharing that.
No
personal story.
It's nice that's, especially with you being a kid at the time, that's like the exception to the rule of don't meet your heroes that everyone always says.
Oh,
especially
my God,
when it comes to probably to Hollywood specifically. That's probably a big thing you hear a lot,
and the fans too. I've had wonderful interactions with fans and people who just appreciate the work that we all did growing up, and as a person who watched the show and then getting to be a part of that show, it was really cool. And I wanted to put forth my best effort, and the fans have been nothing but positive and nice, and I couldn't be happier. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on this a little bit, I think, at the top, but the character of Robin in some form, from the Dick Grayson version back in the 40s all the way to present day, has existed for this. I think this is the 85th year this year.
Crazy.
So what is is that something you can wrap your head around, just being a part of a legacy of a character that spans, it existed for so long before you and will exist when we're all, when we're all dead and buried? What does it feel like to be part of that legacy?
So I still exist in it as a fan. And
right.
We watch, both, all episodes of Batman. We have Batman going on 24/7 at the house. We really do. And just just from the interview portion to, meeting the wonderful Andrea, casting director extraordinaire, and being, given the opportunity to work along people who brought these characters to life for, like you said, since the 80s.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been a wonderful experience. I've had, nothing but great things to remember, and I wouldn't hesitate to go back again.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think about throwing my hat back in the ring and being like, I can give Batman a shot. Let's give
Right?
Batman a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saying when
Nobody
you
can be the boy wonder forever.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. That's as everyone says.
There's the line.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
All right, last personal question before we move on to talking about some of the episodes that you got to partake in and get even more into the nerddom there. But
Sure.
So you mentioned your dad. You mentioned Batman being on in your household, and so what does that mean to your child or your children that you were Robin? Like, does that win you like really cool points that dad used to be a superhero or is a superhero technically?
For sure, 100%. Yeah, my eldest loves going around being like, "Hey, my dad was Robin." Little kids in his class, because I was a chaperone on a field trip,
Okay.
and so like our whole group, he was telling, "Hey, my dad's a superhero." Kids were wanting my autograph. It was
That's so cool.
yeah.
That's
100%.
awesome.
And
That's
and my
awesome.
youngest, he's at the point where he's like, yeah, I totally get the concept of, these things, being animated and
Right.
people
Mhm.
voice them, and people who voice one thing can voice other people.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big fan of Ben 10 growing up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because I only let my kids watch some really good stuff.
Sure,
Right,
of
absolutely.
course,
That's
yeah.
a classic.
Yeah, old school Ninja Turtles and Captain Planet and
There you
Nice.
go.
Batman. That's
There
that's
you
where
go.
we're at in our household.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dad of the year
And-
right there.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. And so I let him in on a little secret the other day that the same person that voices Ben 10 voices a lot of his other favorite characters, because he's gotten
Mhm.
into Fairly Odd Parents,
Mhm.
and what else he was watching the other day? He was watching something else the other day. I was like, yeah, Daddy knows her personally.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
What do you mean? He's, yeah, same person. Same person.
Well, hopefully that stays that way. You'll stay cool. I mean, there's the inevitable portion where you will be uncool to your kids, right? But
Yeah.
at some point it comes back around and they'll be like, wow, my dad was a superhero. Like that's
Yeah. Well, all their teachers at school, they're always reminding them too, because they're like, your dad's
Say,
real
that's the
cool.
demographic. You're
Yeah.
they're your age. Like
there you
Yeah.
go.
So I let it slip occasionally that I was Robin to, coworkers and teachers and, crossing guards.
There you go. Hey, you know what? You have that.
I was like, I would have a name badge or something if it was me. Like I'd have the
I have
R
a couple
on
Robin
my-
shirts, I do.
Yeah, I'd have like a monogrammed on all my dress shirts to just have like the
Yeah.
R on it. Just
I was gonna wear one today, but I opted for Boba Fett in the Slave one.
appreciate it. We appreciate it.
That's all right. We would have
Like I said,
accepted either way.
Yeah, any
Yeah, I
classic
dig your
nerd.
shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. New
was boring.
dress for the occasion. Straight.
Yeah.
But, all right, so from there we're gonna move into some more like episode specific, more as Cal said, more nerdy topics here. But off the top here, I would love to just know what are your like personal favorite episodes that you got to work on, and as like an addendum to that, are there some that you think are maybe a little underrated by fans or critics that you've seen over the years that you're like, that's a really good one, that one should be brought up more?
I mean, not too much differentiating opinion on the better episodes out there.
You're not gonna go to bat for Critters.
Hey, you know what? That is the episode where I got to say "Holy cow!" So
Classic.
I mean,
And that's a lot of bull, right?
yeah, that's a lot of bull. But I was upset that I didn't get to finish another "Holy cow" Batman.
Yeah,
I will say, one thing I would have changed was,
There you go.
but I was a Batgirl, so it wouldn't have made sense.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, But yeah, Holiday Nights, obviously, the first episode where we had the whole ensemble there. I mean, everybody was in that little
Yeah.
booth. So yeah, honestly, that's definitely holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And then the first episode of Robin.
Sure.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to go back in time a little bit, but I understand holiday episodes come out on the holiday times.
We talked about that. We actually just reviewed Sins of the Father last or 2 weeks ago now, and we were talking about how, man, it's weird how TV production goes, how this debuts before the other one, you're already Robin, and then they have to go back and explain why there's a new Robin, but they don't even address that it's a new Robin in Holiday Nights because it's based on the comic book that didn't, obviously Tim Drake wasn't in the original one, so there wasn't any reason to address it. So
exactly. Not to mention skipping all over Jason Todd, but
right.
Yeah. Talk about him later.
Yeah,
My son right now, my eldest is playing through Arkham Knight, and he just found out who the Arkham Knight is, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna watch some stuff.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, Sins of the Father was a great episode. For me personally, because I mean, it did introduce, my character. I can, kind of contextually take Holiday Nights and be like, okay, put it with the holiday episodes.
Sure.
Everything has holiday episodes.
Of course, yeah.
And it doesn't really necessarily matter in the timeline when it came through. So,
sure,
right.
Sins of the Father. I mean, the glossing over of I was told that Tim designs all red and black suit. That's what I was told.
Interesting.
So to have it in the Batcave already made me go, hey.
That's one of the things we talked about.
Yeah.
I think in the there's a comic adaptation of that episode, the Lost Years, Batman Adventures, where the line is like it's the original suit. So I guess the idea of like it was Dick's suit when he was Tim size. Which I'm like, I guess that's all right, but then in the show, I always think like show trumps comics, so it's like, the show you just like
green
it's the Robin
spandex,
suit. Right? You're like, right.
Yeah, everyone knows. No, I maintain that just like I maintain that Jar Jar was the Darth Lord. I like that theory.
Love that.
Tim Drake still designed the all red and black suit.
I love that.
That's in my world. I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Right. Hey, that's okay. We're all allowed to do that. We have
a
our
little
own.
Bit, yeah.
Have our own. That's right.
Yeah, it's all fun.
Right.
Absolutely.
So,
go ahead. Got any more?
I mean, I really like trichloroethane broccoli boy.
That's right. Bruce marries a plant lady and
right.
He's gotta show up and save the day.
I mean, any episode with Poison Ivy, I'm down for. She's
that's good.
Probably one of my favorite villains.
Awesome.
Aside from Harley.
We love that.
A few others. I really was gonna say I like I'm blanking on No Fear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great episode.
Yeah, that's a great one because you get to beat up Batman essentially or tie him up
exactly. Exactly. Robin gets a jump on Batman.
That's right.
Takes him down. Yeah. That was so cool.
And I always love that scene at the end where like Kevin as Batman is like, yeah, you were right to do that. Where like he validates you at the end of that, which I'm always like, yeah.
And one of the many times that Bruce validates Tim is, hey, you do the right thing. You're good at this.
Yeah.
In the running for taking over Batman in the future.
That's right.
That's right.
I always respect that. And with Jeffrey Combs being the Scarecrow, I was a big fan of the Frighteners.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he came in as kind of like, that Frighteners character in my head. At least that's how I saw him. And I was like, I want to stay over here.
Yeah. Well, he took that character in a very different direction than what, they had previously kind of characterized him, more akin to what he was in the 80s and, the actual like human Scarecrow to this like how he looks on the show is this like zombie man, and then you change
Terrifying.
the voice also and make it almost soulless in the way that Mr. Combs delivers those lines. It's just cool.
Yeah.
Completely different feel than kind of what we got from the original series. So
Yeah. And then, of course, growing pains.
Yes.
good segue.
Gotta love
Great
growing
segue
pains.
to our next question, actually.
Nice.
So that one obviously is considered by fans, us, that's us too,
Yes.
as one of, if not the best episode of the new Batman Adventures. So what was it like to you? That one, obviously, I don't know where it falls in production, but it feels like that's one of the ones that is a very Robin heavy. They asked a lot of you. You had a lot of lines. You're obviously playing off of another young actress that's playing Annie. And so you have a lot to do in that episode. And there's also a range of emotion because obviously Robin is he's crushing on this girl. He's kind of got this romantic interest. He gets the heartbreak at the end and then has this like life lesson that like not everything is like sunshine and rainbows at the end. What do you remember about that? And like, how was it like having to emote all of those different things other than just like an occasional quip here or there, some of the episodes where you were just relegated to being underused in that form or fashion?
But just being excited about the episode, knowing that it was going to be one of my mom's favorites because Ron Perlman.
There you go.
And then working with Francesca, who I'd actually known before. Speaking of running into people, we actually met on a Nickelodeon studio.
Okay.
Because my brother was Auto Rocket for Rocket Power.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
And from that, he did Hey Arnold, and then that's how he knew Francesca. And I met her in one of the recording sessions because I was doing As Told by Ginger. I was,
that's right. Okay.
Guest spot on that one. So working with her, she was a very good actress. She lots of energy, can play off of each other, a lot. Very, very dramatic. Young actress. She was. I kind of wanted to like impress her.
Sure. Yeah. Of course.
I'm like, I gotta up my game here. Okay, so between her and Ron, who is just the beast. He's Hellboy.
Yeah.
Ron Beast.
Yeah.
Right.
Forget his character's name in Blade, but yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So, and also another real fantastically nice guy.
Nice. Love to hear that.
He was just so cool. Very, very low in the word count in terms of conversation, but in character. So
that's one of the ones like I feel like you're glad to hear that. You wouldn't be like, I met Rob Perlman and he wouldn't shut up. Like, that would feel weird. That would feel weird to me. Like if I heard that.
He does have that stoic sort of presence that he has about himself. So yeah.
Jim Carrey, low energy.
You're like, what?
Yeah. So a lot of I didn't necessarily feel any pressure. I just I knew it was a good episode and it felt good to record and there was a lot of energy. I you read the script ahead of time and you're just like, oh, this is epic.
Yeah.
And of course you see a lot of the famous Batman arcs through some of the storylines and Batman gets gassed by Scarecrow and witnesses the Jim Gordon finding out and
right.
manhunt begins. The whole in this one I was like, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've read this before. And dude, the ending line, murder.
Yeah.
Gets me every time.
So good.
There's that one, and then this is maybe more on the comedic side, but when Batman's telling you like, let this go, and you say, I'm not sitting around while you study dirt. It's like burning in my brain. It's like this moment. It's such a great like teenage defiance moment. But again, in this case, like he's also right. Like,
100% right. Yeah.
Like you're treating her like any other runaway, and I'm like, no, there's something going on here. Like that's Tim being the detective in that moment, and I always think that line, and then that ending line is, like I get goosebumps thinking about it.
And being a 13-year-old boy,
right
on the cusp of manhood, you're experiencing some of that heartbreak and school.
Sure.
And,
yeah.
In maybe roles that you didn't get. A couple of you're like, oh, if I did that differently.
Right.
That could have gone way different, which is actually weird that because this was such a Robin centric episode,
Mm-hmm.
and Emmy award winning episode, by the way.
That's right.
There you go. That's right.
I felt more pressure on the Batman Beyond movie.
Wow.
Production seemed to be sped up. We weren't with the whole group anymore. It was one-on-one, and you could feel the tension, and that one was I felt the pressure, and that was one instance where I just couldn't get I couldn't get the laugh into the cry as little Jay. And
right.
Andrea had to actually step in and do the laugh to cry for me. And I think about that one all the time. Like if I had changed that, if I was able to do that, maybe I could have been an Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Could have been a voice there.
There you go.
Cabbages.
And you never know. It's the
Yeah,
right
right.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But since you mentioned that Return
You're
of the
king of the
Joker,
segue,
I was gonna say you're doing our job, you're making our job very easy because you're segueing into our next question here, which is when you were asked back to do that part in Return of the Joker, being that you kind of, I'm sure by that point felt a certain ownership to, maybe that's the wrong word, but of the character, seeing that they were kind of taking Tim in this more Jason-y sort of way. Like, what was kind of just your reaction to finding out that's where we're going with this? That's how the story of Tim as Robin ends. Like,
Yeah. They actually went through a couple of rewrites too, because the parent-teacher motion picture association, one of those associations stepped in and they were like, "You can't show that on TV."
Right.
I don't know, maybe Robin died or something. I remember reading it and going, "Oh, that's dark."
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. But a couple of rewrites later, and I forget where they left it, but I remember going in and, like I said, it was a lot of pressure. I felt like I knew the movie was coming because that was part of the contract. It was 13 episodes in a movie,
Okay.
and I didn't know that spoiler alert, that is where they were going with the whole movie.
Right.
But just to be back in that Robin role, to see the epic hero Robin pose and then rescue the damsel, and it's hero time.
Yes.
I say that all the time.
And,
yeah,
rules. That's amazing.
My wife needs something. Hey, can you get the thing? It's hero time, and I fly down the stairs.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I want to clip that out and just make it my text notification or something on my phone.
Go for it. Yeah. I do that stuff all the time.
It's rules. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And well, another topical moment here. So in a couple weeks, we have a new Man of Steel Superman movie coming out, and you as Robin actually got to guest star technically on a Superman the Animated Series episode in the nighttime episode where Superman has to take over the Bat mantle for a while for a missing Bruce Wayne. What do you remember about working? Obviously, it's a little bit. I mean, it's the same people, but it's
I'd say it's a lot of the Batman cast, but then also Tim Daly.
Tim Daly gets to be there. Corey Burton,
right?
What was it like working with those guys? And you even technically get to voice Superman with the one line that you give.
I'm so glad that's on my credits. I'm so happy.
Robin/Superman.
There you go.
Robin/Superman. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean I want to say it was a lot more light themed in the Superman cast. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Things were pretty dark in Batman sometimes, like dark humor.
Yeah,
of
course.
So, Batman, a lot more light themed. It's
sure.
It was the same, the same process. Everyone, Tim, the gang were super nice, and just the fact that we had so much fun with that line. I mean, plus I have a pretty good ear. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was voicing Superman, but it did say, Superman as Robin.
Sure.
Plus I have a pretty good ear, and I was like, I mean, Yeah, and it wasn't until I think someone pointed it out. They were like, "Yeah, you did a voice. You voiced Superman."
You voice Superman.
So I was like, "Heck yeah! I'm gonna start putting that on my business resumes."
That's
Right.
awesome. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, I mean it is a great cast to work with. That was a fun episode. I mean,
Mhm.
anytime Superman dresses up as Batman,
Yeah.
It's one of the best. Yeah, it's super
oh
fun.
yeah,
Well, and I love that your character kind of like you're teaching him like you're
how to
as
be Batman.
right
Yeah,
from like, and that works because we know Tim's like a super fan from before he becomes Robin,
yeah, and
just like you in real
me
life were.
voicing that
Right.
character. I mean, it's a personification of me. I was a
Right.
Batman fan. I was given the opportunity to be Robin. I'm gonna wholeheartedly run into this role.
Right. So the idea
Yeah.
is like kick over the desk, like you're like drill sergeant,
sure.
like not Batman enough. Come on. I love that energy that you get to bring in that episode. That's so much fun.
Yeah, yeah. And the fun that you get to see other people having voicing other characters is a lot of fun too. So even if it is and it's the same character. So I mean, he's doing Batman. That's Kevin.
Right. That's a fun layer of like I'm playing Superman, playing Batman,
Yeah,
doing the bat, but I have to do it in my regular voice because he can perfectly mimic me.
right.
So it's got to
Yeah,
all be in like inflection instead of like a tone of voice or something different like that.
precise muscle control.
That's right. This one was not on the question list, so I'm surprising you with this one, but it just got
No
me thinking.
worries.
What was it like working with Lauren on the Old Wounds episode? When obviously this is generations clash here. We have Robin 1 and Robin 2 finally like getting to know each other a little bit. And this is where we get the backstory of Robin and Batman's big breakup. But
Right.
how fun was it working with him on that episode and being in a little bit of I guess you're kind of learning along with the audience at that point, like, okay, this is why you are Robin now.
Yeah. And I don't want to even understate how much Andrea was actually a part of the process too, because
Wow.
she would be there from the booth being, giving us directions and, helping us build this, like he's guiding you through, you're pulling it out of him
Mm-hmm.
and, being a 13-year-old boy, my voice would crack occasionally.
Sure.
So I could make it crack on purpose. And so when it was time for the line, it's a monkey. I got a laugh every single time, and I was like, "That's why I'm here. Let's do it."
Oh man.
That's
So
true.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, and just watching him, or at him as Robin,
Mm-hmm.
Dick Grayson for so many years, and seeing some of the old school episodes, and
Yeah.
you know before I even went into the studio, I was had on. I watch every Saturday. Every Saturday, I watch myself. As soon as the episode come out, I go and watch it. Oh, it's a great Batman episode. So yeah, it's kind of cool that I get to like see how the sausage is made, but still enjoy the sausage.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's
Best of both
very
worlds.
rare. I feel like that's very, I mean, you hear a lot of people I guess, in the entertainment industry who get very jaded or have, and some people have bad experiences, but it's nice. It's refreshing to hear somebody go like, yeah, I did that. I had a blast and I enjoyed it and I still enjoy it.
Fucking sparkly vampire Batman. Ugh. Ugh.
Got some opinions on the new Batman, huh?
Ugh.
An emo Batman.
I haven't watched it. Does he sparkle like a diamond? If he does, I'm out.
No, but he does have eyeliner.
Uh,
But oh man.
There we
it's
go.
all right. No, I mean, just opinions on Batman not being a superhero. I mean, sure he doesn't have superpowers, but he's a superhero.
Absolutely.
And so is Robin. So is Batgirl, and anybody who really can rise to the occasion like that. People that you can look up to, and
There you go.
Yeah, I think I remember we were watching some of like the DVD featurettes leading up to reviewing your Sins of the Father, your first big episode, and that's one of the things I think Paul Dini and Bruce Timm talk about is like for some people, yes, they might imagine themselves being Batman, but a lot of kids imagine themselves more in the Robin role of like they maybe can't imagine being so like stoic and driven, but they can imagine being next to him, punching bad guys and being along for the ride and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what you fulfill for
Yeah.
and still are, as the show is still on streaming and DVDs and Blu-rays and merchandise and all this stuff that still lives on.
Well, I'm a sarcastic sidekick character in real life anyways. Like, I identify with Sokka and,
There we
anybody who's just like, why are we doing that? No. Comic relief and stuff aside, I mean, it was a dream to be Robin. I'd love to, I fantasize about jumping back into it every so often. And
I was going to say, if Batman Caped Crusader, which is I guess, depending on what WB's doing nowadays, nobody knows where they'll be in 6 to 8 months. But if Batman Caped Crusader called up and said, hey, we're not doing Robin. I don't think they're doing Robin in the show. They've been very like, hey, we're not doing Robin. But if they were like, hey, we want you to come voice somebody.
Dude, I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Okay, all right.
I put up styrofoam in this janky office in the industrial part of this building to.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I've thrown out lines before. I don't mind at all. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that was my other kind of. This is my last like bonus question here, but has anyone like approached you about doing like a convention circuit? Because obviously a lot of the other voice actors are out there, and is that something have you considered that seriously or?
I have, and it's been kind of an uphill battle trying to get the wife on board.
Understandable. You got kids.
She doesn't understand my need for attention at all. Yeah, she doesn't understand it, but she gives it to me constantly. She's such a good woman that she puts up with me. But I need attention or I will die. And I did get the opportunity to work with a consultant not too long ago here, my current position, and he actually was one of the directors or the director for Dragon Con over in Georgia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
And he asked me all the time. He's like, "Hey, come on over." I was like, "As soon as I get permission from the boss, yeah, I'll be there." But it's got young kids, so
of course
they were younger at the time, and just not wanting to travel with little kids. Now that they're older, I'm kind of making some headway. I think.
Good.
It definitely sparked some interest with the kids. I think it would be fun for them to see Dad go and sign autographs and have people.
Absolutely.
Plus, my stepbrother goes and cosplays at that con all the time.
Cool.
So I'd be like, I got a booth.
Right.
We'd be first in line to get autographs for sure.
I was just thinking about cosplays. I mean, you by yourself is enough, but like then you start thinking about like there's like a duo of you and Lauren, or you, Lauren, and Tara together. Like let's.
I'd be down.
Yeah, like we're all praying to the convention gods and to your wife to family for the stars to align for that to happen sometime down the line.
The fans are demanding it.
I understand. I'm trying. She's a very private person, and
understand.
And she doesn't like sharing. So
fair. Right.
She treasures her time with me, and I her. So
totally understand. Yeah. We're very big family people, so we respect it. Totally understand.
It's a cliche, but happy wife, happy life, as they say.
100%. I live by that motto constantly. It's led me good so far. I mean, she was really been my supporting character in my life, and she got me the job that I'm at now. And
awesome.
Yeah, so we're having a good old time.
That's incredible. Sounds like you start out sounds like you had a great support system growing up with your grandmother and your mom, and then moving on to what you have now. It's like
not to short my dad none. He was
of course.
Father's Day's coming up, so
right.
I got to give a shout out to Dad too. He was definitely a stable force. He was a California Highway Patrol officer for many years. Like I said, motorcycle enthusiast. So he got me into riding motorcycles when I was probably 4 or 5 years old.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
Daredevil at heart, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a tradition that I keep up with my kids. We go motorcycle riding. We go, I got a bunch of one wheels on offer up, and
Nice.
There you go.
we go tear up the dirt sometimes.
We said Dad of the Year. There we go.
Yeah. We have a good time.
That's
So
awesome.
we go camping a lot. We enjoy camping.
There you
We'll
go.
probably do that this weekend a little bit.
Awesome.
Maybe have a barbecue.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
hopefully they treat you well for your Father's Day now.
They do. My kids and my wife, they're such good people.
Awesome.
I love them so much.
We can tell.
As
It comes out of you.
radiates
Yeah,
off you,
right.
Hal.
Oh, I appreciate it, guys.
That's great to hear. Matthews, thank you so much again for joining us. We could probably talk to you for another 3 hours, so hopefully we can have you back on sometime in the future, maybe to coach a few more episodes with you. But is there, I mean, it's like you're not on the con circuit yet, but is there anything you do want to plug as far as like social media or anything?
I don't have anything to plug.
Okay.
Be good to each other.
There we go.
Love life.
There we go.
Do well.
Love that.
That's right.
All right. Matthew, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so
for your
much.
time.
Well, and yeah, definitely would love to have you back on to, get even nerdier
100%.
with us. Awesome.
Yeah, you guys know how to contact me, so anytime you guys feel
Absolutely.
free.
Thanks
Absolutely.
for taking some time with us.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
No worries, guys.
Wow, Liam, that was I mean, every time we have a guest on the show, regardless of who it is, somebody that's been involved with the making of one of these cartoons that are so near and dear to us, we go into it and we're like, boy, I hope this person is as cool as we think they're going to be, and I think with Mr. Valencia, he surpassed that by leaps and bounds. Just being willing to donate time, during the middle of his day to come on and talk about his experience and have a lot of fun with it. Clearly, someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously and has a lot of fun with the idea of them being a boy wonder, but also able to geek out with us and wanting to come back on the show. So hopefully this is not the last appearance. If it's our choice, we're going to have Mr. Valencia on a couple more times at least to discuss maybe specific episodes and maybe do a review with us or something. Do it old school with a correspondent tag there. But man, a lot of fun and a lot of neat little tidbits and things to just hear about his experience as a boy wonder.
Absolutely. We could talk about this now that it's recorded. We were trying to get this done for a long time. Matthew's a busy guy, as mentioned. He's got a job, got a wife and kids, keeps him quite busy. So the fact that he was able to give us an hour of his day and just talk nerdy with us was a great deal of success. It took us a little while to get this under wraps. It's been hard not to talk about it because we were both so excited about this possibility once we first started chatting with Matthew about it. So we're both we're all hopefully happy with the final product there. It was great talking with Matthew, and like you said, hopefully we can have him on again in the future and talk even more at length about some of this cool stuff that he was a part of.
Absolutely. That will begin to wrap us up for this week's episode. Thank you for those of you that may have tuned in. If you're tuning in for the first time, thanks for checking us out. And be sure to return next week when we will be doing a full review of a classic DCAU cartoon. Looking forward to do that as we turn the page and start celebrating a little bit of the upcoming Man of Steel movie that's coming up here. Liam, July is a big month for superhero films. Man of Steel returning to theaters, and somebody told me that Marvel has a little movie too, also perhaps reuniting a super team in the theaters. So maybe we'll have something along the lines there to celebrate as well. So going to be
a super Fantas month, perhaps.
Oh my gosh, he's done it again! You brilliant son of a... Oh, great, folks. Super Fantas month. Once again, we are back with a exciting month starting next week. But before then, we invite you to support us. As we mentioned in the middle of our interview, check out buymeacoffee.com/DCAU review to become a monthly supporter of the pod. You can also, if you're looking for some other ways to support the podcast, check us out on YouTube. Find us there. Search DCAU review. We're still looking to get some subscribers there to get our our full tag there, our full URL. So follow us on there, subscribe, whatever the term is on that particular hellhole, and like our videos, please. Helps us out a lot. You can also follow us on all the other socials everywhere at DCAU Review. Again, following us there, interacting with us is the best part of what we have as far as interacting with listeners. So make sure you join us. Let us know what you thought about this interview. Let us know if you'd like more long-form interviews like this in the future. Heck, you got an idea what episode you want Mathew Valencia to come back on and review and hear his thoughts on? Let's get some conversations going here at DCAU Review on all the socials. Liam, as we said, looking forward to turning the calendar page. Can't wait. But until then, I'm Cal.
And I'm Liam.
And we will talk to you on the next episode of the DCAU Review.
Adios.
Super Phantasma. You son of a gun.